Yo, what's good, YouTube, man? It's Gary with on Fan TV, man. Back at another video. Like the content of this video, go ahead and smash that like button. Like the content of this channel, go ahead and subscribe, man. Look, so the Ravens pass rush took a blow this afternoon as Jadeveon Clowney signs with the Carolina Panthers. Okay, let's talk about the deal, and then we'll talk about for the Panthers side and the Ravens side. So for the Panthers, they signed Jadeveon Clowney for a 2-year deal, $20 million, with a max value of $24 million. Now, listen, for the Panthers, they had a team last year that struggled in a lot of areas. They're trying to get better in a lot of areas. It makes a lot of sense for them to go after one of the top free agent pass rushers in Jadeveon Clowney. He's from South Carolina, so he's familiar with the Carolinas in general. I know the Panthers play North Carolina, but he's familiar with the Carolinas in general. So kind of a homecoming for him a little bit. So all of that kind of makes sense as well. They want to add more talent to their roster, more talent. They traded away Brian Burns, so a lot of things make sense for the Carolina Panthers to do this move. Okay, so for Clowney's perspective, another payday, a big time payday, right? Where a point in his career where, he came to the Ravens last year, people might have felt like he was coming on the downside a little bit. He had a awesome, amazing season. Was able to take that back up. His stock goes up again. He's able to cash in once again. So for both sides, it makes a lot of sense. This deal for them. And Jadeveon Clowney gave the Ravens a really, really good season. I think the scheme helped Clowney a little bit as well, but what he did was he revitalized his career a lot in a lot of ways here. Right now, I don't want to take anything away from him with that. So I think that Carolina is going to get a very, very good pass rusher, a guy that's going to instantly boost, their outside linebacker room, a guy that's going to, play hard every down. Right? I think Clowney gets a bad rap for how he plays, the way he plays and things like that. When he was here in Baltimore for this season, I didn't see any thing that was like, oh, lack of effort, didn't care, didn't try hard. No. So I think he'll be the same with Carolina. He'll try as hard as every play. He'll give him his all every play, and then he'll also produce sacks, right? The thing with Clowney when he came here, I was saying, okay, the Ravens will get a guy on the outside that's going to be able to first of all stop the run and hold the edge, and they got way more than that, which is Jadeveon Clowney of. So. Good deal for him. Happy for him. Always happy when guys can get paid and continue to excel in their career. So Clowney had 9.5 sacks last season. Big time year. It was always expected that he was going to get have a big time market, get a nice size contract. All right, so shout out to him. All right, now for the Ravens perspective, from the Ravens side of it, this is a loss. Right now, Clowney was one of, in my opinion, the top priority for the Ravens and free agency, right? Now they need to get Justin BK back. They got him back. I think that re-signing Jadeveon Clowney wasn't too far down the list after BK, right? Just because of the versatility, what he can do, and just the how well he played last season. I would have liked to see him back here in Baltimore. Now the Ravens are entering this offseason very, very similar to how they were last offseason, where now they're hoping and dependent on the hopes of, can David Ojabo get it together? Can Odafe have that breakout that we're finally expecting right now? For Ojabo, he's been injured 2 straight years. I don't know that you can depend on him going into this next season. All right, now you would like to say yes, you can all the way. You want to be the ultimate optimist about it. I think that if he does get on the field, he does play an extended amount of snaps. He can get sacks because he is kind of a pass rush specialist, Ojabo, right? But at the end of the day, we haven't seen it because he hasn't been able to play enough games. So the Ravens go into this offseason really with just one dependable guy, and that's Odafe, right? Now, there are a lot of mixed opinions and feelings about Odafe, right? To me, I love what he does, okay? He doesn't have the sack numbers, yes. You can fully admit that, but the pressure numbers are there. He turns those pressures into sacks. We're good, right? Even if he just keeps up his pressure rate, right? That's a good sign as well because, pressures lead to incompletions, all kind of things, hurrying up the quarterback, all those kind of things are important, right? The sack number is very important, but we can't forget about the pressures as well, all right? So for the Ravens, this adds it was already a need going into the draft. I always expected the Ravens to attack edge rusher in the draft, but now it's kind of bumped it up even more. You know what I mean? Going into this, I would have said that it's probably offensive tackle, wide receiver, edge rusher, and then probably cornerback. That's how I feel about it. So people have cornerback as a higher priority than I do. But now I would feel like it's probably offensive tackle, edge rusher, and then wide receiver, right? So I don't know. I mean, listen, if one of those talented wide receivers are there, you go best player available, you take the guy, whatever. You know what I mean? The Ravens are never going to reach for a guy for a need. But the Ravens do have to get another young pass rusher in the building this offseason, right? How that happens, we'll see, right? So, like I said, this is very, very similar to how it was last year, where it was like, okay, you know, we were getting all the reports about Ojabo looks great, Oway looks great. We're going to ride, you know, these two guys back in the pass rush, and we're going to add little pieces here and there. You know, Clowney came in, Van Noy came in, things like that. All right, so I can see that kind of thing happening again with the Ravens pick up some veterans here and there. Now, speaking of Kyle Van Noy, to me, that becomes a guy that I think the Ravens become very, very interested in bringing back. All right, so if Kyle Van Noy can come back here, you know, 1 year deal, 2 year deal type of thing, I think that'll be good for the team because it doesn't put a lot of pressure on, okay, these are the only guys we have. You get a veteran presence in here. He's familiar with the defense. The defense isn't changing. Just who's calling the defense is changing, obviously, as we know. So, Van Noy, I was saying this entire offseason that when it comes to priorities, I had Clowney 1, Van Noy 2 in terms of those two guys, right? Because I figured that the Ravens weren't going to bring both of those guys back. It was going to be one or the other, right? I wanted them to bring back Clowney first if that was, you know, the choice that was given to him. That choice has been taken away. So Kyle Van Noy, if he is still available at the time that I'm recording this video, I would love for the Ravens to be able to get a deal struck with him just because he knows the system, veteran presence, good locker room, good teammate in the locker room, veteran presence, and he seemed to love his time here in Baltimore. And like I said, it takes the pressure off of Oway and Ojabo a little bit. Now you still need to go probably sign another vet and draft a guy as well, but bringing back Kyle Van Noy would be a good start to trying to replace the loss of Jadeveon Clowney, right? So, you know, it's interesting. You know, I thought the Ravens had a real chance at Clowney. You know, there was talks that Harbaugh, you know, he talked to Clowney's agent, and, you know, Clowney said this was the first time he finished the season happy in his career, right? He said like he really enjoyed his time in Baltimore, really enjoyed last season. So, you know, I thought that might give the Ravens a little bit of an edge. But at the end of the day, you know, money talks, and I can never be mad at a player for taking the best deal available. And that's probably what the Carolina Panthers offered him was the best deal available, you know, mixed in, like I said, with, you know, being closer to home and things like that. So it's kind of probably too good of a deal for Clowney to pass up, right? So from those aspects, I completely understand it. For the Ravens, they got to go back to the drawing board, right? Now, Jeff Zrebiec put out there some potential options that's out there right now. So he put out guys like, let's see, Yannick Ngakoue, Carl Lawson, Bud Dupree, Jerry Hughes, and Rasheem Green as some potential names the Ravens could look to bring in. Now, Ngakoue, he was here before. It didn't go too well, but it is a different defense now than it was before. You know, more, I think, pass rusher friendly this defense is, so maybe if they bring him back. But, you know, these are the kind of names the Ravens work with, right? So I'm not going to get too caught up in names because if we think back to last offseason, right? A lot of people weren't too impressed with the signing of Jadeveon Clowney. They weren't too impressed with the signing of Kyle Van Noy. But it worked out, right? So at the end of the day, can the Ravens bring in guys here that can fit the scheme, and can Zach Orr, new defensive coordinator, get the best out of those guys, right? So the Ravens have to continue to add talent to the room. It seems like the last couple of off seasons, right? Really, the Ravens and Eric DeCosta in particular has been pretty content with having the outside linebacker room pretty bare all the way through training camp and signing guys as we get through along, maybe second, third week of training camp, maybe even closer to the first week of the regular season. So I'm not saying that these Ravens moves are going to come quick, fast, and in a hurry when it comes to filling in that outside linebacker room. We may have to be patient with this one, right? Because Eric DeCosta has been very, very patient himself in building out this room. So, you know, we'll see what happens. But as it stands right now, losing Jadeveon Clowney is a loss for this team. And the Ravens have to figure out a way to replace 9.5 sacks from the outside. So, That's my thoughts on it, man. Give me your guys' thoughts on the video, man. I want the thoughts of Jadeveon Clowney signing with the Carolina Panthers, right? So, yep. Let me know. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe on all the videos, man. But it's Gary with Fan TV. I'm out.